Hey everyone, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina, I'm your host, and I'm excited to be doing a travel stroller comparison video for you. So what strollers are we going to be comparing in this video? We are going to compare the NUNA TRVL LX, that's the BMW edition, versus the brand new Silver Cross Clic. So before we launch into it, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Why should you? We are doing so many travel stroller reviews right now that if you're in the market for a small stroller or a travel stroller, or it would make sense to share this with someone who might be in the market for that, great time to follow the channel. If it makes sense, go ahead and like the video. If you want to share it with someone, go ahead and share it. Sharing is caring. And if you really like what you see or you'd like to explore it further, check out the other colors, other styles, maybe even anything else for baby, you can head directly to my website, destinationbabykids.com. That's right, I am an actual store owner. I own a store here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. If you want to support this channel, the best way to show your support is to buy something directly from us. Doesn't have to be a full-size stroller. You could buy anything. We'll ship it right to you, get it to you ASAP. Okay, guys, that's the end of the commercial. Thanks for watching. Let's launch into what makes these two little travel strollers similar but different. Okay, so, let's turn on the lights as well. That's always helpful. That'll make these pop a little bit. We'll be able to see the colors better. My apologies. What a fabulous viewing audience. Okay, so as you can see, we have the green stroller. This color is called Conifer. This is going to be our Silver Cross Clic, okay? That's the one shown in green. The one that's shown in the more white kind of tan color here, they call this color Biscotti, that is going to be the NUNA TRVL LX. So these are both awesome strollers for travel, similar but different. Let's launch into some of the differences right now. So TRVL LX is from NUNA. It is more expensive. It's going to cost $600, whereas the Clic from Silver Cross will be $450. The Clic will have a 3-year warranty provided you register it within 28 days of purchase. Otherwise, it's a standard 2-year warranty. NUNA is going to give you a 2-year warranty right off the bat. So both have a pretty good warranty. The weight on these products, the TRVL LX, as you can see, it's overall bigger, right? We have a bigger tire set. I think we're dealing with 6.5-inch rear tires and 5.5-inch front tires. I would argue that our tire size on the Clic is probably a 4-inch tire all the way around. They do have a 4-wheel suspension on both of them, and they both have front wheel locks. So with both of these, we would have the option of being able to take the strollers on a variety of terrains outdoors. So you could go through sand, grass, gravel, whatever kind of you run into by locking those front tires. So both of these strollers have the option to make their tires go from swiveling to fixed. That is an awesome thing on a travel stroller. So kudos to both of these brands for doing this on their travel stroller options. Now, the weights of them are different. This, again, travel is physically bigger overall, TRVL LX, so the weight on it is a little heavier. You're looking at closer to like 16.5 to 17 pounds with TRVL LX. On the Clic, your weight is just a hair under 14 pounds. So let's just round them up, 14 for Clic and 17 for TRVL LX. Now, other differences are going to be the backrest height. So the actual backrest on the green stroller, the Clic here, is 18.5 inches, whereas our backrest on our TRVL LX is 16.5 inches. So you get about 2 additional inches of backrest on the Silver Cross. Now, what's interesting about that is if you look at canopy clearance, meaning if there's a kiddo sitting in there, how tall do we have from the top of their head touching the canopy down to the butt of the stroller? The TRVL LX has the best canopy clearance of any stroller that I sell. It's like 28.5 inches of canopy clearance. It's outrageous. So while it doesn't have the tallest backrest, it does have the tallest canopy clearance. Our Silver Cross canopy clearance is 24 inches, which is still pretty dang high. So we do love that. Harness minimum, maximum 8 inches up to 14.5 on your Clic, 10.5 starting harness height to 15.25 on your TRVL LX. TRVL LX is a slightly wider seat at 13 inches. Your Clic will have a 12.5-inch wide seat. The depth on the TRVL LX seat is deeper as well. So it's a 10-inch depth on the seat, whereas on our Clic, it's an 8.5-inch depth. Crotch depth is 4.5 inches, and your crotch depth on your NUNA is going to be 4.25 inches. Leg extension, that's the little kind of floppy piece here. On NUNA, it's a 6-inch leg extension. On Silver Cross, it's a 5-inch leg extension. So I'd argue pretty similar. And then knee drop. So that's the knee going, breaking over the top and then going all the way down to the little plastic footwell. On your Silver Cross, it is a bit of a shorter drop at 9.5 inches. With NUNA, your knee drop is 11 inches. So again, deeper seat, longer knee drop, shorter backrest, but taller canopy height clearance. And all of that, again, makes sense. It's physically slightly larger, and it's a little bit heavier than the Clic. So all of this difference makes sense to me as a reviewer. Now, handle height. I'm wearing tall shoes today, but you can see the NUNA handle height clearly comes up taller than the Silver Cross. So the NUNA handle height is 43 inches. The Silver Cross handle height is going to be 41.5. I'm wearing platforms today. Either one of these is actually a very high handle height. It might not look like that right now because I'm wearing tall shoes, but in general, those are both very, very good handle heights for taller parents. They're both going to have magnetic buckles. They both have a basket capacity of 11 pounds. NUNA has a slightly bigger basket shelf with being 16 inches deep and 15 inches wide. Your basket size on your Clic is 14 inches deep by 11 inches wide. The accessibility on both to get to the basket, I'd argue, really isn't fantastic on either, but it is better on NUNA. Your back opening is 8 inches on NUNA, your front opening is 7, and on Silver Cross, your back opening is 5.25, and your front opening can be 6 inches. So again, these baskets are not huge, but they're perfectly sufficient for a diaper bag and running around all day and doing traveling stuff. So that's really the bigger thing to consider. Now, both of these will do newborn recline, and both of these include a car seat adapter in the purchase price. We're going to show you that at the end of the video here. Another difference would be that NUNA offers a sandal-friendly brake on their strollers. So you brake it and then you can click it up very easily. On your Clic from Silver Cross, once you engage it, clicking it up is a little bit more work. So I would argue neither one's ideal for sandals, but I guess NUNA's a little bit better. But both of those could be improved on, guys. So if you want my feedback, I would work on those brakes to be a little more sandal friendly. They both have the front wheel locks, which we talked about, and they both have one-handed fold. So let's talk about that. NUNA's fold is novel. I mean, people go crazy for this. It is a self-standing fold. It's very small, it's very lightweight. It does come with a nylon travel bag that has a strap. There's no lock when it's all folded up, which means the opening's really easy. It's one-handed and there's no messing with any buttons. You simply lift it and kind of kick it up toward yourself and it's ready to go. But again, if you had concerns about someone folding it, it's very easy to fold. Now, Silver Cross is gonna mimic this somewhat. So it's a button, a lever to squeeze, and then you can push it, whoops, where it'll fall down. You can do it in a manner where it's not so embarrassing and it stands up. But in general, I find with this guy, my easiest fold is sort of keeping my hand on it and then neatening it all together. So you can see the Silver Cross Clic is definitely a smaller fold. And that's where Clic is gonna have the advantage, right? Clic can go into that overhead cabin, whereas Travel, we would gate check. Travel LX, we would gate check. There's, I keep calling it Travel, but Travel LX, we would gate check. It does come with a gate check bag. So why would this matter? Hey, if you're doing several connecting flights, maybe you don't wanna do storage under the airplane. Maybe it makes you nervous. You've got a tight flight schedule. Having that option to go into the overhead might be useful for a consumer in a way that isn't necessarily apparent immediately to everybody. So these are just things to consider and keep in mind. Now, again, your NUNA is easier to open because it's not locked. Technically, the Silver Cross is locked. Silver Cross also has, instead of a bag, a carry strap, so that's very cool. That can go over your shoulder. You do press the buttons to open the Silver Cross, but what's interesting is that it sort of half opens, like it doesn't lock fully, it just kind of locks in half, and then you can put it open like that too. So there's different ways to open it up. You just want to make sure you hear all the clicks so you know it's clicked together, but there's different ways to fold it and open it up depending on how bombastic you want it. NUNA is just always the drop down. And people are always going to be like, that's so great. So maybe there's times you don't want to talk to people. So maybe having the fancy fold feels annoying, especially if it's in public. So I hear both things, you know. So let's talk about newborn recline with both. They both have this option for, I would argue, NUNA's probably goes to 155. Your Silver Cross goes to 160-degree recline. The Silver Cross recline is insane. I've never had a stroller. I mean, I have had other strollers go this deep, but it is really cool on a travel stroller for that to go that deep. As you can see, NUNA goes pretty deep, but I would argue Silver Cross slightly deeper, not much. And then they both have a little apron that you can put together. NUNA's is easier, but Silver Cross is, of course, more fancy. Both of these brands use the UPF 50 material, so it'll be a good sunshade for your kiddo. As you can see, Silver Cross, of course, making the little apron a little fancier than NUNA with the snapping underneath and this piece that would come up in Velcro. It's pretty sharp looking though. If you want it to be a little pramette, you can do that with either. Now, NUNA will have the option to sit the seat up with your leg. Silver Cross, you're gonna have to use your hands. Now again, it's a cheaper product, right? At least $100 cheaper. What is it, $150 cheaper? So yeah, not surprising that there's a little bit more stuff to do, but it's not difficult by any means. Now, something else that's interesting about both of these strollers is that I mentioned they work for a newborn with the newborn apronette and the recline, but most people are going to be excited about the fact that they can use their car seat with either of these options without buying a car seat adapter. So typically with travel strollers, almost all of them, they'll say they work with a car seat, but then you have to buy a separate piece to make that all work together. These guys are ready to go right out of the box to work with car seat. So what car seats will work? Well, this is what's interesting. NUNA, obviously, will work with any NUNA PIPA infant seat. So here is the PIPA Air. Goes in, it's locked, lifts the whole stroller and come out. The PIPA Air RX also goes in and locks. So those two are no problem. Obviously it's NUNA on NUNA, so why would it be a problem? There shouldn't be a problem. They all should work there. This is PIPA RX. Also works with travel, no problem. If you're like, why are you demonstrating each one? We will get to that. And then here is PIPA Urban. Also clips on, hooks on. Okay. If we go to the Clic from Silver Cross, they will say that they're ready to work with NUNA PIPA RX and NUNA PIPA Urban. Those are two of the 4 car seats I just demonstrated. So only 2 of those 4 will work on Silver Cross. Which ones? The PIPA RX, which is this guy here. So that'll click on. And then there's also the PIPA Urban, which will work directly on here. Now, if you wanted to do PIPA Air or PIPA Air RX, those do not clip on safely. So they make a noise, but they don't really clip on safely enough. So again, Clic has less car seat compatibility than NUNA, although this makes total sense considering that NUNA makes the stroller and the car seat. So of course, those pieces would all work in conjunction. Silver Cross in this instance is just making the stroller, and then they're making it work with some popular car seat options. So we just want to make sure that we would really clearly illustrate that so that the viewing audience can understand that if you want a broader variety of car seats that are NUNA PIPAs to work on your travel stroller, staying with NUNA will probably achieve that more easily. And as we mentioned, there's just more features on this guy than there's going to be on the other one. But they're both excellent choices for the price. It makes sense that Silver Cross is slightly cheaper. It doesn't do as much as the NUNA, but it does a lot of stuff, and it does it very nicely. It does it with the flame retardant-free fabric, the UPF 50, all beautiful textiles similar to NUNA, and they both have a very nimble push. Again, NUNA with the bigger, heavier tires, probably a little bit more outdoorsy. So if that's important to you, something to keep in mind. But again, if you're like, hey, I really want that overhead option, you're gonna get that with Silver Cross. And with NUNA, we would definitely do a gate check. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in our next video, and you can check out individual videos of either one of these if it makes sense for you. And head over to my website, destinationbabykids.com, where you can check out different colors of the Silver Cross Clic or different colors of the NUNA TRVL LX.